So, boy, we've got quite a few people joining us live. I'm Bren, the host of Garden Chat Live, and I'm here with Shannon at Flynn Fish. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, I'm really sorry. I know like a few times I've called you Flying Fish. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I'm so excited that you joined in. Actually, you kind of suggested because you were kind of having a hard time with BLAB, I'm guessing.
Yeah, sometimes it would work and sometimes it wouldn't.
Yeah.
When I figure out how it works, and sometimes I have some good ideas to help in with some of the things that you have going on. So
totally, yeah. So that's kind of happens to everybody. So if BLAB seems a little wacky, it's beta. So if we can just remember that, and what that means is they're still, it's evolving, right? So they're still making the program. So we're kind of like guinea pigs in a way. Good guinea pigs, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, I hope, maybe by next year or maybe sooner, this will be, they'll have it nailed, and this would be, it's a great format for us all to connect. And actually, I think, is this kind of how I met you? I mean, I met you on Twitter, but kind of, or maybe it was first on BLAB.
Through Twitter. You were on one of the suggestions. So it's like, oh, a local gardener. Like,
yeah.
Hello. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's way cool. So, okay, so let's see. I guess what is really confusing about BLAB sometimes is it's not like Periscope, Periscope, if you're familiar with that. That's primarily a your mobile device, whether it be your tablet or your your iPhone, where BLAB you can technically use on both formats, or both what would that be called, products, right? So it gets a little confusing. So what will help me today with answer questions for you is, I'm guessing are on a PC or a Mac, right?
Yep, PC.
Okay, cool. Me too. And then, so do you know your browser? Are you using like Chrome or Firefox?
Yeah,
okay, Chrome. Chrome seems to work pretty well. I've used Firefox a few times, and it's pretty good too. But so that helps a lot. So that lets me know that you're seeing the same browser, the same, the same images on my browser, hopefully. So what you'll see is, let's see. So on the right-hand side, you're going to see the chat room, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So first off, what most confused you when you would come on, say you click on that link, I'm guessing, on Twitter, and, we've got a Garden Chat Live. And so you click on the link, and it takes you to what would happen?
The screen would pop up, and then it would kind of sit there for a second, and then it said to sign in with Twitter. Okay. Then you sign in, takes you somewhere else, and then brings you back.
Okay. Yes. So I guess that's something that's really important, and maybe I need to document that a little more just so we can get more Garden Chat people in, because it's really important to go on BLAB at blab.im before an event. That way you can connect your Twitter to it. And it's a good thing. I would say I've been on BLAB for 115 days, and I would consider it a pretty reliable, I wouldn't be scared to allow it to access my Twitter, like when you allow other third-party apps, right? Uh-huh. So, all I'm doing is connecting your Twitter to your BLAB, which is great because they work together. Like when you come on a BLAB, chances are, even if you just sit in the chat room and you ask questions or you like something, you'll probably pick up a few followers on Twitter. Have you noticed that at all?
Yep.
Yes. I have a good time listening to the other people that use BLAB. That's just kind of my personality, though. I I get out of the garden and I go into like the marketing people and the PR and the chefs and, you know, all kinds of people, mommy bloggers, there's all kind of people on BLAB. And it's really fun to hear them say, you know, gosh, I did a BLAB yesterday and I hated Twitter. I just hated Twitter. And now all of a sudden I have like 100 new followers just from coming on a BLAB. And so I love hearing that because, you know me, I'm a Twitter person. So hopefully, you know, if people are scared to go ahead and connect that, you shouldn't be scared. So, all right. So the first tip would be, you know, definitely check out blab.im beforehand. And maybe I need to share that a little bit before the event so people can be prepared for that. So let's see. Okay. So you get into BLAB, and what's really cool about it, if you notice, your profile. So do you know how to find your profile? Okay. Yeah. So, well, you won't be able to do it while we're on this. I wouldn't recommend that, especially if you're on live with me, because, you know, we went all the internet energy going to this, not clicking around too much, right? Unless you have like some supercomputer and you could do that. That's great. But, okay, so when you go to blab.im, all you have to do is do a / and then put your Twitter name. And in the URL box at the top, and it will take you to your profile. Okay. So if you go, and then you will go to the, you know, I should show this on the screen, but I know I'm not, I don't want to, am I making sense with this without doing that? Yeah. Okay. So up in those settings on the right-hand side, you'll find, you know, you just click on it and it comes down and you can change your settings. So you can, if you want your bio to say something different than what you have on Twitter, there's no problem with that. You have access, you can change it. You can actually even change your name on here up in those settings, but I don't know. I don't really recommend that. I think it's important to stay with the same, you know, your same name all the way through on all your social profiles, right? So, yeah, I mean, actually, I can show my browser on here, but if I do that, I don't know if I can show my page. So we'll just, if you have more questions about the settings and that, maybe we can continue that conversation later on Twitter or something, right? Anyhow, but it's important to have in your, well, you know, actually, you're pretty well covered just signing up with BLAB because it's connected to Twitter. If people click, if you look on your screen up here, up at the top on the left, you'll see little boxes, and it shows you, like, you'll see, you know, the head, and you'll see how many people, that number next to the little icon with the heads. That's how many people have looked at this BLAB event. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're on with us live right now. Next to that, you'll see an eyeball, and I see 3. I don't know if you see 3. That basically says there's 3 of us actually signed in to the BLAB. We're actually in the BLAB, and we can take full benefit of what BLAB has to offer, right? So if you see the little circle there, you can see, I can see garden chat. So if you click on the garden chat, you'll get a box that comes down. Now I might be able to do that. Let me see if I can turn over to that. Let's see here. Okay, so if you go up, I don't know if you could see my cursor up there. When I touch the circle there, you'll see this is what your profile is set up for. And, you know, so yours would do this too. So if you keep that in mind, this is what people are going to see immediately about you, right? So you want to make sure you have your website, or if you're on Facebook, that's where you want your traffic to go. Make sure you put that in your profile settings. So yeah, it's a great way to connect with people using that. So boy, this is a lot of fun. I need to, because we're recording, and if there are people joining us, if you're watching the presentation, but you're not in BLAB right now, click out, go to blab.im and get your account now. What are you waiting for, right, Shannon? Right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You learn so much stuff on
I know.
You're able to connect with so many
I
people.
know, right? I've learned so much in the last, I couldn't believe it. Okay, so here's another really fun thing about Blab. If you go onto your profile, blab.im/ and then your name, right? Your Twitter name, and you put the cursor, click on your profile photo, you'll see how many days you've been on Blab. It's pretty cool. I'm 115. I was like, wow, it's been that long, That's kind of a fun little toy. So let's see. Well, what do you think? Okay, so we have our account. We're in a chat room. What next? What do you think? Do you have what's your next question?
How easy is it to set up a Blab?
Oh, to do one yourself?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually pretty easy. It can be a little wonky sometimes just because, like what I said, it's beta. I've had some crazy stuff happen, but one thing I've learned over the past days here is, just remember this platform is, it's live. It's not necessarily a webinar. If you've ever attended like a real organized webinar, this, Blab's more of like a sporadic, but don't get me wrong. I mean, it's good to plan ahead, because you're definitely going to want to promote what your Blab is going to be. But, don't stress out too much. I tend to do that because I get in my head this production that I want, right? And what I want it to do. Well, you know how that is. It doesn't always work in your favor, right?
Yeah, it turns out totally different.
Right. So, I mean, but and then when I look back on it after the fact, it ends up being great. I just freak out. That's just my personality. But I think you just remember, this is a great place to, have a couple of people in there with you, or at least one other person with you. I wouldn't recommend going into a Blab all by yourself, just making a Blab and here I am, come talk to me. That could be dangerous and it could be, disappointing because, even though there's tons of people on there and there's great ways to, the way they have the Facebook and the Twitter interface for this, it's so easy to pull people in once you've started the Blab. You still need to promote it a little and have a plan, have a theme. Like today we're talking about the basics, right? Another really cool thing about the Blab too to keep in mind, say let's use this as an example, our Blab today. So we're doing Blab basics and say, we've talked enough, maybe 15, 20 minutes in, and we feel like we've covered the basics, right? And so we want to change the subject to something else, right? And you can easily go up, if you look on your screen here, let's see, I can actually even pull it up. You can, up 1 second here. I use minicam.com to do the graphics on here. That's another great point to keep in mind. It's a great addition. It's a download you can do in order to share like the screen and things. Okay, so I don't know if you can see my cursor. Here I am. If you go up, I'm on the left-hand side right next to the beta. There's like the little right box. If you click on that, see how it kind of cleared it? You can actually go in and type a new subject right in here if you want to change your subject.
Okay.
Yeah, this is kind of neat. While I'm over here, actually, I could show you, well, this, the Twitter, you've got the Twitter box here where you can, click on that and share. That's kind of fun. Mine's kind of funny. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. My GIF loads real weird on here. It never actually comes up on here, but the GIF image, oh, here it is. It actually worked that time. Well, maybe I don't want that because it's got the screen share. That might look goofy. But anyhow, when you click on that tweet, I guess if you just give it a little time, you'll get the cute little GIF coming up. And then you can just write, say, I used this option the other day. I really like something there was a BLAB I was watching, and they had this awesome guy from the UK. He actually wrote the book on periscopes, and on periscopes, doing periscopes. And I really liked a quote he had said. So I clicked on that tweet button, and I actually, typed a little bit of what he said and shared that out on Twitter. And it was neat. When I went back on Twitter later and I looked, there were quite a lot of people who liked it and commented. So that's kind of neat. I mean, if you're learning something cool, use that button, right? And don't just click it. You can add to it. So that's kind of cool. Maybe I went off.
No, that's fine.
BLAB's like, for me, you met me in person before at the Michigan Nursery Show. To talk. So I always feel BLAB is like perfect for me. So anyhow, okay, so let's see. All right, so what other what comes to mind right now that you'd like to talk about?
Can you share pictures on BLAB?
Okay, so like what I'm using here, right? Okay, so let's see. Actually, I'll show you how I can do that pretty stuff. Woo! So there's our little graphic for today, and that's a whole nother BLAB because I use a website called Canva, CANVA.com, to create these cute little GIF pictures. And you can use these all over the web. You can use those on your blog posts. You can use them on Twitter posts, all that kind of stuff. And it's free. So check that one out. That's a really great site to create like your ads for any BLAB you may create, right? Now, the way I'm doing the screen shares that I'm doing, or if you see here, I have my little logo here on the screen with me. That is actually a program that you can download, and it's at manycam.com, MANYCAM.com. So you basically you go in and you can download their free product, which I know a couple of fellow gardeners who are using it, the free version, or you can purchase. They've got different levels and more options for it. So, but if you're just starting out with BLAB, I would definitely just try that basic. Even though the first package is like $24, it's cheap, right? And I think that's kind of nice to support people who are, making things like that anyhow. But yeah, so, and it's really easy to share. Really, actually, I could probably, do you want me to do a screen share? It's kind of off subject a little, isn't it? But I could actually share what that ManyCam, let me do that really quick and I'll show you what the ManyCam looks like. Let me see. I can make it bigger here. Here's what the screen looks like on that. Before you would start your BLAB, you're going to pull up this ManyCam program. And I know it looks a little complicated on there, but it's really not. You can, with the package that I have, I actually have the $24 one. You can, I get 4 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4 that I can fill. And so when you click on that, you can pick whatever you want to go in that box and to display. Okay. So it was that easy, so see, I picked my dome and then so I'm just going to hit, so now you should be able to see the dome on my screen. Yep. Now I got to remember how to get off here. Here we are. Okay. I definitely don't download it tomorrow and then 5 minutes before your BLAB and then try using it. Epic fail right there. Just you're not gonna want to do that. So yeah, so that's fun. Definitely play with it. Another cool thing about it being a gardener, and I know you have connections to the garden center. Oh my gosh, these tools you really want because we're heading into spring. Everybody loves seeing the flowers. What a great way to go in and you could use ManyCam and attach it to just about anything. You can even make production, videos using the ManyCam or ManyCam. I keep saying ManyCam, but anyhow, I kind of spun off subject there. Okay, so what do you think? What did that help a little?
Yeah, it did.
Maybe I think I think we should talk about the chat bar on the right. Because there's so many really cool things that actually happen over in that chat bar. Let's see. Is that okay though?
Yep.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to move this. So I should have my screen up there. So I'm on a PC and this is Chrome. And the whole right side of my computer is where the chat bar is. Recently, I mean, over the last 6 months or so, is kind of cool. If you see at the top there, there's a map, which is being kind of flaky today. Usually you can see like the outline and it shows you like, I like to scoot. Oh, there it is. It's just kind of zoomed in. But sometimes I like scan in. So yeah, I guess it's kind of random. Sometimes that map is smaller. I just love the map because I think that's what's cool about social media is you can connect with people around the world. And so like when we have a garden chat on Monday, it's really cool to see just the whole map lit up with just everybody, even though they're not actually in the chat room. It's just so cool to see and just a great encouragement to see, wow, people are actually listening. So so here's the screen here, and this is what I see, and you may be totally different from what, yours may be a little different. And I think a lot of that is just because of the beta. And maybe our connection too. So I'm down in the send message, which is down in the bottom. And it's kind of cool. If you click on that little slash button, it gives you all kinds of options here. My favorites on there, and what I think is really important, just so I don't cloud you with too much stuff, is that question box. I love how that works. You can just click that. Okay, so see how my /Q came up? And, so let's see, type of question here. Let's see, what hardiness zone do you grow? Oops, hold on here. I have a new system I'm using, and it's Windows 10, and every now and then I get notifications, and I have yet to figure out how to turn those off. So look what happens, though, when I typed a question in, and it pops up over here on the right-hand side. Or left-hand side, excuse me. And so that's really great. So anybody that's in the chat room, they can go ahead and they can ask a question that way. And then for your presentation, you can bring it when you click it to answer. I just click to answer. It comes right on the screen. That way when people pop in randomly throughout the event, they can see, oh, this is that's the question right now. I don't know. That's kind of cool. I can't remember offhand if you've asked questions before, right? I can't remember.
Yep. Yeah, I have.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm being too basic here, but that's a great little tool there. And then so I'm thinking too, like, because you asked if how easy it is to start your own BLAB. So, once you get that question in there, keep in mind when you're done, you can click the X. There's an X on the screen and it takes it away. So, and then move on, to the next question. The chat bar also something really cool about BLAB compared to like if you're on Twitter and you're hosting, like if you're doing a Twitter chat, like garden chat, I'll just use that as an example. On Twitter, anybody can say anything, right? And you could get some crazy stuff in there sometimes. You can actually get some really offensive things, which, thank goodness, knock on wood, that hasn't happened in a while. But it has, and that always frustrated me. So one really cool thing about BLAB is when you're in the chat room here, if somebody comes on and they're just being really rude, like they're saying very offensive things, you can actually, let's see, I'm going to pull the screen back up again just so so I'm not going to boot you out, but see how I have my cursor. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I put it on your name, and say your account had said something bad, I can delete what you said by hitting that X. I don't know if you can see that. It might be too small.
Yeah, I can see that.
So if you just, if you click that, that goes off the screen. And see, now only the host and the guest host has that control. People who are in your audience, they can't actually do that. But say, okay, so I'm going to pick on the Garden Chat account here. And so say this account had said something offensive and I have no tolerance for that, I'm going to boot them out. So you can actually hit this report and block user from the stream and to just boot that person out of there, because and that's a really cool thing. I know this is, it's a lot to remember. It really is. Even I've been on here a whole 115 days and it's a lot to remember, but those are pretty useful. And I think, especially with something like that, when that comes up, I don't think you'll forget that, because that's, that's easy, good stuff. So
yeah.
Let's see. So down at that little, another option I really love in that chat bar down at the bottom, if you, I don't know, is it distracting when I go over to that screen? Is it bad to do that?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Just when I do that. Okay. So at the bottom here, I'm down at the bottom again, and it says send a message, and you've got the little slash mark. So when I click on that, another favorite of mine down here is the notify. So when I click that, what that's going to do, let me show you. I'm going to hit enter. And so you'll see what pops up at the bottom here is, do I want to share my stream with the 254 followers I have? And, of course, you're going to want to hit yes, because you can share that with everyone. But I've already done that today, and I don't want to drive everyone nuts. So I'd like to keep my 254 followers. So we won't do that again. But definitely, if you're a participant or you're watching a BLAB and you really love what they're saying, or it's kind of cool what they're saying, you want to support, hit that button. It's great. Other than that, the other ones on there, I haven't really played with, and I really should do that. Oh, look, you can change the topic. And, the other thing is, too, I've noticed I like to follow these guys. They do Tech BLAB. I think it's hashtag Tech BLAB. I always get that backwards. Maybe it's BLAB Tech BLAB. I'll have to look. But they're great. I mean, they're both like they're in the industry of, social media and technology. And I learned some really cool things on their BLAB. So that would be another great thing if you're new to BLAB. Don't be afraid to search out and check out some of the other BLABs that are going on. I could go on and on about that, actually. I do want to say this. So you may be thinking, like, when I first started doing BLABs or getting involved there, it's kind of hard to find, like, where do I find this information? Like, where do I find who's streaming on BLAB? A lot of the BLAB community, they have Facebook pages now. So you could even go on your Facebook and search, like, I'm part of one with Barb. Barb's actually, I think she's still in the chat room here. I think it's called Blabtastic. Something. I can share that link, or maybe she could share the link if she's in the chat room here. And so with, there's all different really great communities on, because one thing I have noticed at night, if I go to sign on to blab.im and make up, get a new BLAB registered, set up, I notice, you'll see some people live streaming, and there's some crazy stuff going on now on BLAB. BLAB's starting to get really popular, so more people are starting to use it. And don't be discouraged by that if you come on and you see something that's like, whoa. You can follow, like, the Facebook groups, or if you follow BLAB on Twitter, they actually share tips on their Twitter stream, and they shout out periodically different BLABs that are going on. So that's a great place. And the hashtag, of course, hashtag BLAB, you can scan through and see who's using it. And then if you're on Twitter, definitely make a list on Twitter with these BLABs that you may come in contact with that you like. And, if you put those people on a BLAB list on Twitter, then when their shows are coming up or what they're doing, right? So I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, yeah. I can go on and on. Chatty Cathy, or let's see, Blabby Brenda, or whatever, Blabby Bren, right? Anyhow, okay. Oh, good. Okay, so Barb's in the chat room here, and she says Chromecasting while listening. Oh, Bren, I'm go to Facebook. Okay, their Facebook is slash groups slash BTS Live, and so that's right there. And then I'll have to do a blog post about this later and put all these resources on there. And Barb is an awesome one to follow. You need to follow her. She has done some pretty darn cool stuff, and I've learned a lot from her there. So I see Lisa, Houseplant Guru, just came in the room. Hey, Lisa. What we got? We're Midwest gals in here. We got Shannon and hey, Lisa, if you got some makeup on, you could come in and ask some questions too. I only say that because she's really hyper about, she looks, oh, just woke up. Okay, never mind. Anyhow, how fun. Okay. Well, let me just really quick, because we do have quite a few people who are watching live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bren of Garden Chat Live, and I have Shannon with me. You can follow her on Twitter at Flynn Fish. And I don't know, Shannon, can you share a little bit with us maybe about your like gardening or your garden center, whatever? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Fine. Yep, I'm a mother of one, a son. He's 6 years old, married, and I work at a garden center. Love it. I've been gardening myself at home for, I think it's 15 years now. I think 2002 I started my first garden in the backyard.
Wow.
Love every bit of it. Can't wait until spring.
Yeah.
I'm already looking through the seed catalogs and picking out what I want to get.
Yay.
Love it.
Lots of fun. And you're up in Michigan. I can share that, right?
Yep.
I guess I just
Southeast Michigan. I guess I always thought I was in Zone 5B, but actually I looked a little closer into it. I'm actually a 6A, right on the edge of a 6B.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Huh.
I've always been looking into plants of Zone 5. It's like now I can get some other stuff.
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's see. So Lisa, she's from a greenhouse family. Well, her husband's family has been greenhouse industry for like, I think 90 years it is or something. And so Lisa's up, she's kind of in the Detroit area, suburbs there. And she's saying she would still stay at Zone 5. So I'm kind of like that too. We were changed to a Zone 6 where I'm at, but I always just kind of stick with the 5B. But, you know, kind of the rule with that anyhow, you know, you kind of, we've got the zones, but then you know, just pay attention to how the weather can be kind of flaky, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, just know if you put a 6 or a low, you know, some that's not really supposed to be in your zone, you know, if you take care of it really good, it could live, but you just gamble. You're taking that chance. So anyhow, how fun. You guys have great garden centers up there too. And I could see this as being a great tool for garden center owners and growers, because what a great way to, you know, if there's a topic, you know, you guys just, you know, let's see, I can think of so many things you guys could share on here that I think would be useful for the consumer, not to mention other growers in that as well. But I could see you came on one of these and have, you know, somebody who's actually in the garden center working. I don't know if you do that too. You know, okay, so maybe you would cover that. Have someone who's doing the growing. Well, maybe you do that too. It depends on the size of the garden center, right?
No, I'm not the grower.
Okay. You know, I worked in one locally, and we all kind of helped out with a little bit of everything. We all wore different hats, right? So, but it would be so cool to have, you know, I have a grower, I have somebody who works there, and then maybe open it where a customer could even come in. But you guys could like talk about the plant, what that plant's doing for you. And I mean, just think about it. If you could come on and have like a plant talk or plant coffee talk or something, and, you know, set it for like every Wednesday, or, you know, obviously don't pick a weekend coming up here because you guys are going to be busy. You won't have time to be blabbing. But, you know, if you pick maybe, hey, what about wine in the greenhouse? You know, have an evening where you sit, and that's what Blab's about. You know, you're going to casually come on and use ManyCam and show some pictures of these new plants you're excited about. I mean, it's just, there's so much. I mean, there's just so much you could do. I wish all the garden centers would do this, you know. Anyhow, how cool. Okay, so let's see. Think of some more questions. We're back to the Blab basics. So we're in the chat. We know how to ask questions, share with our friends, connect with people by, you know, checking out who actually was in the chat and clicking on their image. Mm-hmm. And then the really cool thing about that too is you can also go in and look at their Twitter. So that's a great way to connect with people on both platforms. What else? What do you think?
I don't know.
I know, right?
Still new to Blab. I've only been on it just a handful of times.
Yeah. How about Lisa? Lisa's in the chat room still. I'm trying to think of your latest question that you've had about Blab. If you have any questions, please share with us in the chat room. You know, let's kind of switch to, because you had asked, you know, how could I, you know, is it easy for myself to set up one of these Blabs? And I just want to show you, like, on here, one mistake I kind of made. Well, kind of. It's kind of, you know, I've heard lots of the people who have been doing these Blabs for a while. Do you see this? It's lighting up right here, the open seat. When you're a host and you start one of these, and you already have your co-host in there, or, you know, you can fit 4 people in here, okay? It's recommended to lock that seat, because what happens sometimes, like last night I had a stream going, and people will come in, and I don't, you know, sometimes I'm sure I have had some garden people think that, okay, I'm in here, am I supposed to hit that button? And they hit the button, and then they end up, oh, you're online, you know, I'm live. And they didn't really want that to happen. Or, you know, sometimes I've been in a couple where someone not so good came on, and, you know, so if you're doing a chat and you want that control, which you're going to want that, just lock that seat. That way, you know, it kind of detours those things from happening. And Barb's noting that you should have, whoops, it moved fast. You should have a co-host for your Blabs. Why or why not? Oh my gosh. Yes. Very important. At least lately for me, you know, I don't know. I'm just going to tell you from what I've learned from this. So last night I had a Blab scheduled, and I had promoted it all day for the most part. So excited about it. And I started the Blab up, and the screen was weird. Like, it was acting funny. So, you know, a lot of times when Blab's not working right for you, just click out and click back in, right? Well, I'd done that. I clicked out thinking I could click right back in and fix it. Well, for some reason, it was like the Blab was over. Like, I tried everything. It would not let me back in. So this morning when I set this Blab up, I kind of, you know, when I signed on as the host, the screen was being flaky again. Like, I couldn't see the chat bar. You know, it's beta. You know, I'm not upset with Blab. It just, you know. What helped that is I have a second account for Garden Chat. So first I made Shannon a guest host, and she, you know, wasn't real sure about that. And then I thought, oh, well, duh, I'll just make Garden Chat the guest host, right? Or the co-host. And so I made my other account a co-host. That way, if my account, you know, crashes or whatever the heck happened, it was still live on my other account. So that may be like this for you, because if you haven't really dabbled around with Blab too much, you're going, second account? What? I don't get this. To keep that simple, just invite a friend to come on with you to begin with. That's kind of like how I started out. I've done a lot of these like with Pam of at Growing North. And if you're watching us live, please follow her. She is awesome. Canadian grower growing up there in zone like 1 or whatever year round. So that's a cool person to follow to learn a lot from. But yes, I would definitely say you should have a co-host or a second account signed up, just so, if your account fails, you can still get back in. The other thing with having a co-host, which I know I'm doing a lot of talking here, Shannon, I feel really rude.
Nope, that's okay.
But you don't want to be in a room just talking to yourself, because that gets, I don't know, even I get a little bored with that, right? And no one wants to hear that. No one wants to see you in a room just blabbing away, right? So let's see, Lisa of Houseplant Guru, she says, I have done that. Yikes, especially when I'm on my phone. Okay, I'm not sure what she's referring to. Oh, just talking to yourself, perhaps? Or
I think she answered that when you were saying you accidentally hit the button and you didn't know that you were on.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, yes. I'm not going to rat Lisa out, but she does butt dial me a lot. Sorry. How fun. Gosh, as I'm blabbing away here, Shannon, so many things are coming to mind that definitely Lisa, okay, we'll give her that. The reason she's doing that is she was an Apple user, iPhone user, and then she switched to a Galaxy, and so it's different. So she does keep hitting the button. I'm just messing with you, Lisa. You know that. Call me anytime. Right? So, yeah. Okay, let's think. What else? What do you think? What comes to mind? I know, right? Okay, so let's see. We covered the chat. We covered having a guest host. Another thing that comes to mind with BLAB is keep in mind that, BLAB is different than the other live streaming. It's not a Periscope. So, I've seen a couple where people have set up a BLAB and they just have it like streaming at like an event or something, and it's just streaming. And I don't know, to me, that's not really what BLAB was made for. That's more of a Periscope. And then you also, when you open live streams like that, this is a whole nother BLAB that, I've actually caught a few BLABs where, like the Periscope gentleman I was talking about, he actually covered this for a good, I want to say half an hour yesterday, I think it was. Actually, I need to embed that on my website just so people can go and watch that, because I had some great tips on live streaming, BLAB, Periscope, wherever you're doing, when you're in a public place, that there's so many rules to that. And, I myself, even I've looked back on a few things and thought, ooh, I should have been careful, because, a lot of people don't want to be on live streaming. So if you just got your phone there doing that, that could be a problem, right? Or, another thing that comes to mind is, you and I met up in Michigan. I was recently at the Michigan Nursery Landscape Association, and I did do a few live Periscope streams from some of the speakers when they were speaking. But before I did that, I'm affiliated with the show, so I let them know what I wanted to do, got permission, but then I also, we needed to go to the speaker and talk to them about it, because you don't want to live stream their whole presentation on something, because, they're making money coming and speaking at these events, and, you don't want to take that away from them. But I will tell you, a lot of the gardeners, they were so thankful, and they're like, oh, this is awesome, really. And so I just did a few key points, you know what I mean, instead of streaming the whole thing. And so that, just something to keep in mind, your own security and stuff like that. So let's see, we got how do you attract guests to your BLABs? That's a good one. I'm on Twitter a lot, so I do tend to tweet it a lot when an event's coming up. We kind of covered that in the beginning, didn't we, Shannon? If you are going to do a BLAB, you want to put one together, set your BLAB up on the, I might be able, get a little scared to click around on that. I might be able to run through how to actually set one up. But I don't know what that would do, if it would close me out of this. But maybe that's a little more than just basics, right? We could try that next time when we're not streaming live, maybe. But when you set up your BLAB ahead of time, I would definitely set your BLAB up at least. We did this one kind of spur of the moment. I would at least do it at least 6 hours before the event. That way you can go and talk about it. You could put it on your Facebook page. I've done that. Put it on your Google. You could, if you're really advanced, with the planning, put it in your newsletter. What a great thing for your garden center. You could set up, a little chat on plants weekly and put it in your newsletter, a little outline. This is what we're going to talk about this week. Join us and we'll talk. And then, like I said, you can, the chat bar there, you could do the notification. And then the cool thing about BLAB, you've got your Twitter and your Facebook on the screen there that you can share it out. And tell your friends, right? Bug them, email them. Hey, get over here, right?
Yeah.
So fun. So we got quite a few people who have clicked on this link. Thanks for joining us this morning. This is fun, kind of. I feel like I'm talking too much, Shannon.
Nope. You're the one that knows all this. I don't.
Well, I think we're all learning, and I hope I'm helping.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Boy, I would say, I don't know. Do you have any other questions?
None that I can really think of.
I'm trying to think of some tips I've learned along the way. One thing I kind of struggle with a little bit when the technology is working, of course. That could be a little frustrating. But like I said, if you just, just remember it's live. So, and, the whole time, like when you're streaming here, really think about that. You're live. And I know that can be a little scary because I know a lot of gardeners and, they're like, I don't want to be on camera, but you're missing out on so much when you don't just do it. Just do it because you are so talented and there's so much you can add to the community where we can all grow just by diving in there. And, and the more of these you do, and I would definitely combine this with Periscope. It may seem like a lot, but, try to do a couple of Periscopes a week. That may seem like a lot, but I keep talking about this gentleman in the UK. I forget his name. Darn it! It's anyhow. He wrote the book on Periscope, so I'm sure if you Google that, it'll come up. I can tweet it after the event. But he does these cute little Periscopes every day. They're like 11-second or what is it? 11 is maybe it's 11 minutes. It wouldn't be seconds. That's like a Vine, but every day, he's committed. He would do a 11-minute video, little BLAB or Periscope, which that's so easy as a gardener. Even in the winter here, you can go out and show what your garden's doing in the winter, and just be consistent about it. And I think when by doing that Periscope, it's going to get you more comfortable with being online with BLABs. And you know what I mean? It really does. That's what I've experienced. So let's see. And so normally too, when you have a co-host, like I kind of made you my co-host, let them help out with things too. So like Shannon, you could take our next question if you want. Do you mind?
Sure. Yep. Lisa says, do you have followers on BLAB? I'm still new to BLAB, so I don't have any followers, none that I know of. Oh. I really don't know how to even check that.
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. I think, okay, the way you're going to find that out, I'm kind of scared to click around on here because I don't want to lose you. Nope, I just gave you some love, the props. Oh, we could talk about props too. We'll do that in a minute. So once again, okay, so I'm going to use Lisa as an example. Here, let's see. Let me switch over my screen here. And when we look right up right at the top I'm over on the left-hand side here. I've put my cursor on top of Lisa's face there. And if you're following us today, definitely follow Lisa at Houseplant Guru on Twitter. She shares some very beautiful photos, and she knows her stuff with houseplants. So anyhow, if you see here, this is Lisa's profile. So when you click on the circle, you're going to see everything that she has entered for her profile, her description and whatnot. If you click on the little Twitter bird, what that's going to do is take you over to Lisa's Twitter account. I definitely recommend doing that when you're in these blabs and you're listening to people say you like what they're saying. Before you really communicate with some of these people, click on that Twitter button and go see what they're sharing. You know, you never know. You're just kind of doing a little check on people, right? To see if they're really the real deal. So I don't know. Is that weird? I like to check people out because, you know, you're going to be connected with them once you tweet with them, right? So, so the way you see, if you look right down here, look, I can see Lisa, look at you. You have 82 followers and you're following 74. That is awesome. So that's how you find out how many followers you have, or quite simply, give me a minute here, sorry. Here we are. Go to your profile, you know, Shannon, do that after we're done here. If you go to blab.im/your Twitter name, you can see right on there on the screen, it tells you how many followers. And I recommend definitely go in and click on who's following you and check them out. You know, you may be surprised. Maybe I had some pretty cool people follow me the other day on Twitter after we did a blab. So you want to go ahead and check them out, say, hey, you know, it's all about connecting, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Did that help? Let's see. Do you have followers on Blab? Okay, we already answered that. When you Periscope, my phone whistles because I follow you. Does Blab do that? Oh, notifications. That's cute. It whistles. That's neat. Mine kind of does like a little bing. Actually, Blab does have notifications, and they can be a little annoying if you follow a lot of people. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's see. I don't want to lose you with that. Okay, so boy, help me out, Shannon. How could we take that? Notifications.
Yeah, if you're following a lot of people, you know, you're going to get a notification for every time someone puts up, you know, a tweet on Twitter, or
Right.
they advertise their blab. You know, if you're following 10 people and all those 10 people want to put a blab on in one day, you're going to get lots of notification tweets and then also retweets and everything
Right.
else. So
Which
it can be a
it
lot.
can be good, but it can be bad. The first thing that comes to my mind with that, and like if you know you were watching earlier, you saw I was going to show you how the notifications work again, and then I kind of caught myself and said, "Oh, I already sent a couple of those out." You know, because I'm trying to think of my followers too. I'm just kind of, that's my personality. I don't want to overwhelm them. So with that in mind, you know, definitely promote your event beforehand. Like we said, you can put in a newsletter, tweet it out earlier. That way you're not, oh gosh, that can be annoying, like on Twitter or Facebook. You know, someone will write, right? Someone will write something or something new will happen and you'll see like 10 tweets about that one thing just right in a row. That's like, I don't know.
Yep.
It's so annoying, but for me, I know some gardeners, they don't, you know, I don't mean to just keep picking on the gardeners. I'm a gardener too, but, you know, I don't think they realize when you tweet that, you know, there's people watching that, you know. I think if they knew that and it was like a story itself, they probably would try to space those out a little bit, right? But yeah, definitely. And you know, I would say a really great way to pick up new followers on Blab is to participate in Blabs, and you know, instead of watching on the sidelines, you know, actually sign up for Blab, get in there, and, say, hey, look at the chat room. I like going into them and I greet people as they come in, especially like I love watching the foodie. There's Chef Dennis, if I think his account is Ask Chef Dennis. Man, I learned how to make mussels the other day. I'm in Ohio. That was exciting. I can't wait to go, get some fresh mussels and cook it up, because he did a BLAB and he actually, like, he had one box open for himself, like he's explaining things, and the other box, you have a second account and you open up the box and he had it on his skillet, his where he was cooking the food. I just think about that as a grower, what you could do with that, and so basically to do something like that, you just need, 2 Twitter accounts, which, if you've got your Shannon account, maybe you have a greenhouse account, you could have yourself on there as the speaker. You could do your grower account. You're doing a demonstration, have that camera on, this is how you plant, just a quick little demo, I mean, gosh, there's just so much you could do with this, right? So, yeah.
Can you hook up a secondary camera instead of using the small camera on a computer?
Yeah. I mean, well, actually, that's kind of how I do mine. I'm not actually using the camera on my laptop that I have hooked up. I actually have a Logitech camera that's connected through the USB. I think that's what that's called. Boy, now I wish Chef Dennis was here. Actually, through that foodie, I asked some questions and I ended up buying a new camera, and I love it. It works great. And what was it called? It's like I'll tweet it out. I want to get the specs right and everything. But is that what you asked? Sorry.
Yeah.
I get all excited and then it all goes crazy.
Yeah, I got a Canon camera that takes pictures.
Oh. Wait. Can hear you. Hit your speaker again. There we go. I think your earplug. Uh-oh. No, there you are. You're there. I think your connection may have been funny. And that's actually, with that happening, that's a good thing to talk about with BLAB. Well, first of all, I should note we got quite a few people who have joined us. Thanks for coming on today. If you're watching us live, please go in the chat room, ask questions. We're talking about basics of using the BLAB platform. I'm Bren, the host, Garden Chat, and this is Shannon, my co-host. Flynn, it's Flynn Fish, right? Okay, so something very important is make sure your PC that when you do a BLAB, if you're going to set one up, definitely do it from your PC or your Mac. You can do it from your phone, but I don't recommend that because there's just so much you're missing out on. Different, little things you can add to this BLAB to really make it a success that you won't have on your phone. So if you're going to set up your BLAB, do it on your PC. Make sure your operating system, everything is up to par. Make sure, if you're using Chrome, make sure it's updated. Go up. If you're not sure how to do that, just click up in your settings. There's, I think it automatically, you can set it up where it automatically updates on Chrome or, your Firefox, whatever browser you're using, make sure it's up to date. If you're using headsets and that, make sure you're plugged in good. You're definitely going to want to do a little trial run before you go live. Hey, thanks for joining us today in the chat room. Let's see. Oh, actually, this was a great tip I learned yesterday listening to a Blabathon that was going on. And you must be thinking too, gosh, how do you get anything done? You have like all these blabs going. You're watching all these blabs. I will use my iPhone or I have the iPad mini. I'll actually have that set up next to my computer when I'm writing or editing photos. So I'll have that streaming kind of like radio or TV, only it's cooler because I can click on it if I have a question BLAB, the people are actually right there. Just be careful not to get sucked into it too much, because that happens too. I get distracted real easy. So anyhow, though, a really great tip that this Periscope gentleman shared yesterday was, okay, before you go live, it's very important to check yourself out. Make sure your camera is how you want it to be, right? So, and the way you can do that is, the way I'm doing it with my PC here is I have that minicam.com hooked up, and that allows me, before I go live, I can actually see on my screen what I look like, in my present, make sure my curtain's lined up, which on my thing it was, but sometimes the YouTube will shrink things or make it wider, and, just keep all that in mind, right? Yeah, so, and if you're periscoping, it's very easy to check, before you start streaming yourself live on there. Just turn it on to your camera and make sure you turn it to video mode, because that, the perspective is different, the viewpoint's different on that. Just do that ahead of time. That way you can see, my lighting's good, I'm standing in a good place, and then go live, right? So that's kind of important. Yeah, so, oh boy, what do you think? Are we ready? Are you ready to jump on BLAB? Are you going to do this?
I'm not sure as of yet. I'll try to find some things to talk about. But yeah, it seems pretty easy.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Like I said, I get a little frustrated, but it's because I just, I want this huge Broadway performance. No, I just get in my head how I want things to work. And, that's just my personality. And just remember, BLAB is live, and it's, just, spur of the moment, but, just go with the flow. It's live. If you don't get a recording afterwards, which I hope we do, but if you don't, oh well, hopefully people joined in early. That's why it's important to promote it. So people are watching it live, because, sometimes the audio and the video don't come through where you'd want to share it, the replay or whatnot. Does that make sense? But I'll tell you what, when it does, if you're like right now we're recording, the recordings are excellent to use for podcasts. So you could take that presentation and upload it. So you may have a presentation here for like an hour. I don't like them going longer than that. Sometimes they do, because people on BLAB, they'll tend to kind of pop in and pop out, But I think it's important to keep it around an hour. Just because, right? Anyhow, and of course the video, when it works, especially when you have a neat slideshow, or you get in some great conversation, you could actually take that video and put it on your YouTube. And that's another thing with I can't really show you on my screen because my screen was being funny, but because I had my other account on there, it allowed me to do the record. If you're the host, you can record, turn off the recording about 3 minutes after you close out the BLAB. Go back to the BLAB, your page for this. It gives you the option to upload your presentation to your YouTube. So great. You're like all over the place with this, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is great. So, well, girl, we've got some good weather up here in Michigan and Ohio, right? Do you see that this weekend? It's going to be nice.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 52 up here for the weekend.
Yes.
It'll be really warm.
I know I'm definitely going to be grilling out because I've got some really good veggies. I'm actually harvesting some more from the dome. I love putting them on the grill. And we could start some seeds. There's stuff to do. Yeah. I think the biggest mistake Northerners make, speaking as a gardener, we'll get this really nice day like this and people get out and they're just itching to clean things up. you want to kind of be careful. It's still early, right? And any pruning that you know, unless they're fruit trees and things, you don't go out there pruning the roses or anything. That could be a bad thing, right? Anyhow, so I don't know. I mean, I think we did it. We could always come back and do this again if we have more questions. Good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been fun. I've had fun. Thank you, Shannon, for joining me. And please connect with us on Twitter. You can follow Shannon at FlynnFish, and I'm Bren at BG_garden. Jump on #GardenChat and let's connect. So, all right, let's see. So I'm going to pause the recording.